Hello, everybody. Welcome back to when did we call this? Pixel Book Club reviews.
Something like that. Whatever this is, back to this.
And I am Lord Pixel of Pixelfell, and this is Landry Quinn-Walker of the Kingdom of Paper Crows. And we're here today to talk about A Game of Thrones, the first book in A Song of Ice and Fire. Definitely not the last. No. Definitely not the last. And we're just here today. You know, we went to The Hobbit. We did a chapter out of the and we were looking for what we wanted to do next. And it's one of the things that I really wanted to talk about. Because it's my second time going through this book. First time was hearing Roy DeTroyce read it and going ahead and getting to read it out of my special leather bound that I got.
I was going to ask.
It feels so good.
There's something about the physicality of a book. There's nothing quite like it to me. Though I love Roy DeTroyce's. I've listened to them as well. And his audiobooks were absolutely next level. I think his narration is what sold me to listening to books. There was just none better than his work.
None on par. But yeah. I suppose we should just go ahead and dive right in and talk about the start of this, which is a prologue, which takes place north, far beyond the wall. We get to meet a few characters. A guy named Will. A guy named, how did you, is it Jared?
I took it as, I think it's probably Jared, but I always read it as Garrett.
I always read it as Garrett too. But there was a few times when I was reading it myself, I kept slipping into Jared. I was like, what am I doing? And then a young lordling, Waymar Royce. North of the wall, they are after somebody they're on the trail of some wildlings. And it's cold, it's grim. Looks like they froze to death. But this lordling is like, no, listen, I'm not going to be a failure. We're going to find those men. They go up back to the site and the bodies are gone. And just right away, because this guy is kind of he's a hot shot. He feels like one. The two men that are there don't really respect him, don't really like him. But there's something different about this night. There's something off right away. And, I actually watched somebody talk about this prologue a few weeks ago. A video came up on my feed. And the thing that they talked about was with Waymar, whenever they get to that site and there's something stirring in the darkness, and that's when the others come out. This pompous young man could have just been a coward, but no, he goes ahead, and even though he's only going to last this chapter, he gets this moment of taking that stand. Where is the line? It's me. Why is it so cold? No. Sir Waymar met him bravely. Dance with me then. Lifted his sword high over his head, defiant. His hands trembled with the weight of it, or perhaps from the cold. Yet in that moment, Will thought he was a boy no longer, but a man of the Night's Watch. Then he dies.
This is interesting to me because people talk about the death of, I'm going to spoilers if you have never ever heard of Game of Thrones. There's this guy Ned. He doesn't make it through the end of the first book. Sorry.
No!
Sorry. I know you're just reading it. People often take the death of Ned as that moment where you go, oh, this isn't your normal fantasy series. A protagonist, this major character, just dies, and that's true. this is the moment you know this. This is that heroic moment. There's nothing wrong with Waymar from on a typical fantasy series POV. This is the guy, right? He we I will say I think that when you read this chapter, you kind of understand that George R.R. Martin wrote this so long before the rest of it. He wrote this years before he picked it back up and continued. And the mythology of the Wall and the Black Brothers and all that, it doesn't really work very well with this guy, like his attitude, his bearing, and all that. Because now we know, why is he there? Who is, like, he is. It's kind of like the way Jon Snow ends up vowing himself to the Wall. But it only works for Jon Snow because he is an above average honorable person who believes in this cause. Is Waymar Royce like a precursor to Jon Snow? Is he a similar type of character who, he obviously came from wealth, but he probably didn't do any crime that got him exiled there. So he chose this path for some reason.
Yeah.
And so this is a hero, but we're seeing this hero through the lens of the working class man who knows it's all bullshit. Sorry for the channel if I'm swearing.
No.
It's all, to our hundreds of viewers, I apologize for my indiscretion. This is the moment where we, when he dies, basically that's George R. R. Martin saying, yeah, there's no predestination here. There's no safety because you're the wealthy, the elite. You're just a person, and he's there. Waymar, for all his good intention, is posturing heroically. He thinks he's the protagonist of the story. He draws his sword, he holds it high and trembling from the cold, and he dies. He's dead. He's gone. Move on. He's done. We will never speak of him again. We will never think of him again. We will never get backstory for him again. Maybe we do get some Royce family nod in there, and I just missed it, which is very possible the way Martin writes his family trees. But it doesn't matter. He's just dead. And now you know the tone of this book. Sorry, I just had to go on a tangent there.
No, that's perfectly fine. Then I liked Will. Like, I know we only got a little bit of time with him, but just going ahead and looking through his eyes, you like Will.
Yeah. I liked all these characters. They're all likable characters in their own way. It's such a compelling opening to a book.
And you know what, though? I'm going to admit something right now. First time, didn't even think about it. Because we go into Bran next, and we get little kid's perspective of my dad's Lord of Winterfell, and he's going to go ahead and take this guy's head off.
Yeah.
And that's Garrett. I didn't even think about it the first time through, like, because the other two were gone. I just thought Garrett just was another dead body there, but no, he actually managed to escape, and he went down, deserted, and down he went. And I really like how within this chapter and the next, we get these two perspectives of Ned before he gets his own POV.
Yeah.
Here it's through his second to youngest son. And well, do you understand why I had to do this, Bran? Do you understand why I had to be the one to go ahead and carry out the sentence? Because we still have that blood of the first men. It's still our custom. We believe if a man is to die, if we sentence him to die, we have to be the ones to look him in the eye, hear his last words, and take his life.
Well, that
Otherwise,
sets us up
maybe
for Ned so well.
Hmm?
It sets us up for Ned so well. It tells us so much about who he is in that single moment. His sense of honor and duty that informs his character ever forward, and how he instills that in his children. Well done, bit there. Again, every bit of this serves the story so much. It's every bit of this ends up being so important. Um, like there's not even a single bit that is a wasted moment here.
Yeah, no. Even with the dead direwolf and her pups, and you have the direwolf that has, man, it's just the time that you take away from something and you forget. Because I forgot that the direwolf was dead because there was a broken antler found in its throat, and everyone takes that as an omen except Ned.
Yeah, symbolic. The no, everything, and then all the way to the albino runt that Jon finds.
That Jon finds, that with already open red eyes. Oh, it's an albino. It won't even live long enough. No, it'll live because it's mine. Love Jon. Love Jon.
No. I mean, it is just, again, absolutely compelling, and what a whirlwind snap of the from that prologue to a completely different world, completely different POV, and children, and what a bold move. Our first real chapter is Bran, and speaking of subverting our expectations, look how his story goes very shortly later. Not to jump ahead, but we know how it goes, and it's brutal. So then, chapter 2.
Yes, Catelyn. I love the Godwood and the Godswood and the Heart Tree, and that just in every in almost every castle there is a Godswood, but the ones in the north, they still have their Heart Tree with the faces carved, that eyes with always seeming to watch. And she has to come see her husband, the man she does love, and tell him that a good friend, Jon Arryn's dead, but also that the king is coming. And even Catelyn knows about the omen. Sorry. There is one line that I have to go ahead and talk about. Where are the children? He always would ask that. In the kitchen, arguing about names for the wolf pups. She spread her cloak on the forest floor and sat beside the pool, her back to the weirwood. She could feel the eyes watching her, but she did her best to ignore them. Arya is already in love, and Sansa's gracious, but Rickon is not quite sure. Is he afraid? Ned asked. A little, she admitted, but he is only 3. Ned frowned. He must learn to face his fears. He will not be 3 forever, and winter is coming. He's 3.
He's 3. He's 3. He is a toddler. I mean, it's a brutal world. 3, like, nope, grow up now. Ain't no time.
I think I heard, I can't remember if this is true or not, that that George had wished he had aged the characters up just a couple more years, because
Rickon's unwritable.
Huh?
Rickon is unwritable.
Yeah. He doesn't. He is
Okay.
not a POV for a reason.
Yeah, let me tell you. Okay, so full disclosure for all of our listeners who don't know, I worked on the Clash of Kings, the second book, the comic book adaptation of it, with George R.R. Martin and his team, and we aged the characters up for that adaptation for multiple reasons. When you're working in a visual medium, there's a lot of reasons you want to do that. They did the same thing when they did the adaptation for the television show for their own and some similar reasons. It's hard storytelling. What you can get away with in prose, even when it's difficult in prose, is almost impossible sometimes in a visual medium. So Rickon was always a problem. When you're dealing with the body language, mannerisms, physicality of a toddler, and you want to convey nuance, there's no nuance. It's all big. It's all, and it just gets repetitive so quickly. So yeah, it's tricky. I could see why he would have wanted to age them up.
Yeah. It's just that line is always funny to me.
So I have some strong feelings about this scene. That I loved about this is that Ned is reticent about all this. Ned's like, I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. It's Catelyn is she's already planning and plotting. She is a player of the game. He isn't. He doesn't want to be, but she always has been. She's like, no, she's looking at advantages for her children, for her husband. She sees it all as like, you have to do this. You have to go out there. And if she had not done this, the whole thing would have gone completely different. She pushes him out of his comfort zone, pushes him away from his instinct to turtle in and just say, nope, winter's coming. I'm staying in Winterfell, and I'm not
Well,
involving myself in politics.
well, we don't have the offer yet though, because this is just about the king coming.
Right.
So, and you go ahead and you do get Ned going ahead and saying, "Oh, damnation! How many years has it been? Oh, my best friend is coming." That's what he
True.
is.
It's true. You're right. I am jumping ahead. It is. It is the. It is the. How do I put it? It is one of those things. I loved the setup between the two of them, and what this is the beginnings of it, the very first interplay of it, and how it continues to grow and the impact it has. Again, there's no wasted real estate. This all becomes really, really important.
I was writing my fiance the other day because I was rereading this, and I didn't even think about this because when Catelyn goes out to Ed, he brings up the man that he killed. He was half mad, saying things not beyond the wall. Who could barely get anything out of him, and he says that he might have to go up and deal with Mance Rayder. And I just thought about, what if he had?
Oh, well, I'm sure he would have if the king hadn't come.
Yeah.
Which probably would have meant his death. I mean, his brother, I believe it gets a stab. We believe, I don't know that we know his brother dies, but.
No, I don't think we actually have the fate of Benjen.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I'm jumping way ahead, but we're getting into a very interesting what if scenario here. If the king hadn't come, Ned almost certainly would have gone up north and gotten involved. Jon probably would have gone with him and still joined the Night's Watch, but Ned would have been there taking some element of command, which probably would have made things go worse for Jon, not better.
Maybe. Yeah, because going ahead and
my dad's here. My dad, you gotta listen to my dad.
No, everybody would be saying we have to listen to your dad, and would be giving him a harder time because of that.
I mean, Ned did command a lot of respect in the North, though. So, and Ned did command a lot of respect in the North.
He did. But we have to go far, far, far away from Winterfell for our last scene to discuss today, which is Daenerys. That a lot of people love Daenerys' chapters, and they love Essos and everything. The first time that I went through it, it was rough for me because it's an entirely different atmosphere. It feels so disconnected. But now, having everything that I have, going ahead and looking back is it's interesting because here you have where her brother, who's still alive, Viserys, is like setting her up. Oh, I'm going to we have to make sure that the cow likes you. Are you sure the cow is going to go ahead and want his girls this young? Oh, well, good enough for the blade. But
Oh
that's a
God.
medieval world. um, Ilario has such a way, and Daenerys is wise enough to not trust him straight away. Viserys is just mad. Like his madness is clear at this point.
Well, he's mad and kind of stupid,
And
and
incredibly, he is still that 8-year-old child that
yeah.
was swept away because, well, they want you dead. And
I mean, I think he has deep PTSD. I think that's really what we're seeing. Is
absolutely, he thinks that all around him that oh, the king's knives are after me, the usurper's knives are everywhere.
No.
They aren't even thinking about you, buddy.
No.
But
how could he not think that? That made him such a. I really like him as a character. He's loathsome as a person.
Absolutely.
Just like there's a lot of loathsome POV characters in Game of Thrones that are absolutely some of the best characters to read. They're absolutely just so exciting to read and follow because their flaws. He's one of them, even though he's not a POV character. He is so interesting to me. In a lot of ways, I find him more interesting than Daenerys. Daenerys is just a little bit like, oh, she's a little bit wide-eyed along for the ride sometimes. Whereas he is so dumb. I don't know. I don't know the right word for it. It's interesting. I find him interesting.
He's absolutely a fool. And
yeah, that's the right word. He's a fool.
But with this scene, we do go ahead, and I'm just surprised by straight out the bat how wise Daenerys is. Obviously, she is still under the guidance of her brother. Guidance is not the right word there.
The abuse.
Yes. But she sees things plainly. She's like, well, obviously Ilario wants something, and she thinks it's probably something more immediate than what Viserys thinks. Oh, well,
right.
when I go across the sea, I shall kill the usurper myself, he promised. He had never killed anyone. Has he killed my brother Rhaegar? Lannister too, the Kingslayer, for what he did to my father. That
Again,
would be most fitting.
It's a character again who is convinced that he is a protagonist.
Yep.
That this is his story, and it isn't. It's Waymar Royce all over again.
Don't insult Waymar like that.
Only in the sense that this is a character who has bought the hype of self-centerism. He is. In any other book, it would be true. This would be this character's story. He would go and slay the Kingslayer and take back his throne and the prophecies and this and that. But no, he's just an idiot.
He's just a fool. But Waymar wasn't a fool. Like, he was young and brash, but he had, in that moment...
He was a noble fool, not a stupid fool. But he was still a fool.
Okay.
I know nothing against Waymar. I respect to Waymar. But he was also a believer that his story was important.
I do. Yeah.
I'm sorry I said bad things about Waymar.
No. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about if I want to go ahead and talk about this subject now, which probably go straight ahead, because Daenerys thinks it as well. She had always believed that she was going to end up, when she came of age, marrying Viserys, as Targaryen did. I'm just And because Viserys had pretty much said the same thing to her until now. So I don't. That just comes into him being a fool again. He wasn't thinking about anything past getting across the narrow sea and
No, and she was property to sell. She
Yep.
was currency. That's it.
Yep. And he makes it clear with a line I am not going to read.
No, we don't need to.
No, don't need to. But it is impactful. And that's the last chapter we'll talk about today. And you know what? It's really good to be rereading this again.
I mean, so I was introduced to this book in, I want to say 2003. My girlfriend, now wife, she went into a bookstore and just the guy randomly, oh, you got to get this, book, and she bought it for me as a gift, and I instantly fell down a rabbit hole with this. It was a good time. I think the third book had just come out, so had good timing, and then I managed to snag meeting Martin at a signing event for the fourth book, I think, in San Francisco, when it was a few years before the show. And it was, 30 people show up, and we all got to hang out with him for like 2 hours. It was a great time. I was very lucky to come into this one early, thanks to that bookseller who I'm pretty sure was hitting on my wife. And so thanks, dude who worked at Borders or Barnes and Noble or whatever in Sacramento. Because then it led to, I ended up getting invited. They contacted me. They came to me and invited me to work on this stuff. So this all had such a special place for me for so many reasons. And getting to read this stuff again and getting to talk about it is definitely happy times.
There we go. All right, that's about the end of this one. For all our non-existent viewers out there, like, comment, subscribe. It does help out the channel. We'll be back next week, not talking about our next 4, actually, because we're going to be alternating between this and the Fellowship of the Ring, because we can never escape Tolkien.
It's going to be interesting if we're going to be able to avoid comparing writing styles, because we're going to be doing Whiplash. I think we're going to have to.
I think we might.
I almost think we should just lean into it and just do it. But we'll talk more next week.
Until then, thank you so much. Bye-bye.